Hello, guys. Welcome to the Future Assured series brought to you by Cornerstone Insurance PLC, winner African Insurance Company of the Year. In this episode, we'll be discussing insurance and the benefits of insurance in our life, how life insurance can help improve or help secure and protect your home. Today with me is Yemi Olokoju, who has vast experience in insurance, over 25 years, I think. Yeah, so she has a lot of experience. So she'll be giving us more insightful points on how to get life insurance policy and how life insurance is going to help us in our daily life. Hi, Yemi. Thank you for
Hi,
joining us today.
thank you. Okay.
So can you share tips on how life insurance policy works?
Basically, life insurance is risk transfer mechanism, and when I say mechanism, it's a way to transfer your risk to another person. And in this instance, one will be transferring the risk of dying to an insurance company. And basically, there are four parties to a life insurance contract. So you have the insurer, which is the insurance company that will be giving you that guarantee, or to that whoever you're leaving the funds for will be giving you that guarantee. So you have the insurance company, who is the insurer. You also have the insured, that is you who is taking on the life insurance contract. So we call that the insured. And then you also have the beneficiary, that is the person who will be receiving the funds in the event of the death of the insured. That's the person who's taking the contract. And then you have the policy owner, that's the person who is paying for the life insurance contract. Sometimes the person who is paying may not be the person who is the insured, but in most instances the insured is also the one paying and is also the policy owner. So for example, I may be taking a life insurance policy on the life of my husband. So if I take a policy on my husband's life, my husband becomes the insured and I'm the policy owner because I'm the one paying the premium. So I go to a life insurance company who's the insurer to say I want a contract on my husband's life. So in the event of the demise or the passing of my husband, the insurance company pays to whoever I name as a beneficiary on his life. So those are basically how it works.
That's very insightful. So now, if life insurance is very important for families or the insurer to use it to secure their family, to protect it, but I know that there are different types of life insurance. Please, can you run us through it?
Okay, so basically there are two main types of life insurance contracts. So you have the temporary life insurance, and then you also have the permanent life insurance. The temporary life insurance is usually referred to as term insurance. So term insurance meaning you take it for its fixed period. You can say, I want the contract of my husband's life to be for 6 months, or for 1 year, or for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25. So depending, you choose the duration of the cover you want. Similar to like our motor insurance, where you say, okay, I want to buy a motor insurance for 1 year. So my policy starts January to December. So it's a 1 year contract. It's a term insurance, a temporary insurance. Whereas the permanent insurance is a whole life. It's a longer coverage. It covers one for as long as that person is alive. And the whole life is also has some investment element in it. Whereas the temporary one does not have any form of investment. Once the term expires, that contract is over. If death occurs during that period, the insurance company will pay. If death does not occur during that period that you have chosen, nothing is paid out. So let's say I choose a 5 years contract. I'm saying if anything happens to me, let's say it's on my life, if anything happens to me in this period of 5 years, then pay my beneficiaries this sum. The insurance company will pay the beneficiary. After 5 years and the policy has elapsed and nothing happens, then nothing gets paid. So basically, those are the two forms of life insurance. You can have term insurance or permanent insurance.
Oh, okay, that's a very good point of view. So, but in a situation like this, okay, I know there are different types of insurance, life insurance policies, but is it possible for someone to get both of them at the same time?
Yes, of course. So because there is no value you can place on human life, you can't say, oh, your life is only worth so much. So you can't buy more than this amount. No, nobody can say what a human life costs. So you can buy as many policies on your life as you want, as long as you can afford to pay the premiums. So I can buy 5 temporary insurance covers on my life. I can buy on my husband. I can buy maybe one for 5 years, one for 10 years, one for 20 years, as much as I like, as long as I can pay it. And I can also buy multiple permanent life insurance contracts.
That's great. So if I'm okay, I want to live for 100 years, I can buy it. I can buy it for that food. Okay, so
Yes.
if I want to get term life insurance, do I need to go through a medical examination? Is it needed in order for me to get this?
Okay, yes. So depending on the value or the amount of coverage that you want, we can ask you to go for a medical at our cost. So the insurance company will pay for you to go and get the medical done. And the reason the company does that is if, for instance, I say I want multiple life insurance covers, like you said, to 100, then I want to know the status of your health so that I know the risk, or the insurance company knows the risk that they're getting into. So they can ask you to go and do a medical checkup, just to know how the status of your health. But you don't have to pay. But if the amount is minimal, maybe 500,000 or 1 million, they may not necessarily ask for a medical. If the person, it also depends on the person's age.
Okay.
If the person is young, or the amount is not much, medical may not be required. But where the amount is a lot, and the person is probably mid-age, we all know what the life expectancy is now, they may ask for a medical to be done.
Okay, I like that age plays a role as well. But I particularly like the fact that, the insurance company takes that the fact that they have to pay for the medical bill. It's not like, okay, I want to get this policy and you guys are asking me to go and do medical. I have to start paying for it again.
Yes.
It's really nice that they take away that burden away from you. So you don't even need to bother about,
No.
am I going to pay for the medical bill myself just because I want to? So that's really nice. So what are the factors that affect the premium if I want to get this policy? What are the factors that affect it?
Okay, there's several factors that affect the premiums that you pay. So, for instance, I've said your health status will affect. If somebody is healthy, you'll pay, your premiums will be lower than somebody who is not healthy. If somebody smokes, he uses tobacco, then the risk is higher, right? So the person will probably pay a higher premium. Your lifestyle, are you somebody who goes mountain climbing, bungee jumping, somebody who, does very risky, very, I don't know if you watch on this guy who likes to do these adventures on TV, and he goes everywhere and they just drop him off drop him off on one obscure island, and he's chasing crocodiles and all that. Of course, that his lifestyle is different from somebody who just goes to work and back, right? So your lifestyle affects the premiums that you pay. Your occupation also affects. So somebody who's clerical staff who works in an office, or somebody who's a trader versus somebody who's a pilot, or versus somebody who has a risky job, who works on a rig. I can't really off the top of my head think of some risky occupations now, but there are some risky occupations, so those may also affect the premiums that you pay. Age, health, your family background, your medical, the family background. Let's say you're from a family who maybe they have some illnesses that are within the family, maybe asthmatic, things like that. Your family background also may affect the premiums that you pay. So those are some of the things that we look at. Insurance.
Yeah, that's very good to know. But then again, so we know that sometimes we really want to do something, and sometimes it may happen that we'll miss our payment. Like my name is myself, for example, I got this policy. I've been paying for like say 4 to 5 or 6 months, and I may have forgotten I'm supposed to have paid. I'll miss the making payment for that policy or renewal or something. So is there any penalty for it if I miss payment?
Yeah, okay. So, of course, when you're doing a long-term contract like that, so maybe you choose a 5-year policy or a 10-year, of course, there may be instances where you're not able to pay in some months. Now, if you go without paying for maybe a month or two, it may not affect your policy. The company may just ask you to, okay, make your payment when you're ready, and then they reinstate your policy, your contract. But if you miss paying for 5, 6, 7, 8 months, then your policy, of course, would have lapsed.
Yeah.
And if the sum assured is high, if the amount of coverage is high, then and you're coming back after 6 months or 7 months, the company may say, "Oh, look, let's just check your health status again to be sure that we're still covering the same risk." Because, for instance, if somebody has been away for 6 months, he may discover that something has occurred, maybe and now has a health challenge, and now say, "Oh, let me go and renew my life policy just so I know that my family will be secured." So the best thing is, when you're choosing any form of contract, choose payments that you can afford, and no matter what, because you're going into it for a long period and you know why you're trying to do this, is to protect your family. So choose an amount that you know you can conveniently pay. No matter how bad things are, you can make your payments. So yes and no. The answer to your question will be yes and no. If the time that you spent without paying is not too much, it may not affect it. The company may just Cornerstone will just ask you to pay what's outstanding. But if you've gone for a long period without paying, they may ask you to redo your medical and all of those things, and then reinstate your policy. And if let's say there is now a condition in your health, or your health has gone awry, they may now increase the premiums that you've been paying before.
Yeah.
So those are some of the penalties that you may face.
Yeah. I like the fact that they're telling the viewers that they should be mindful. So when they say, okay, I want to get this policy, be sure that the amount that you're putting is something that you can afford.
Yes.
So that at the long run, you know that even if life happens, because we know that life happens,
yes,
it's inevitable, you still be able to manage to, pay your premium. So I also want to ask, how do you renew this policy?
Okay, so very simple. So once you've taken out your contract with Cornerstone, I'm assuming, you just make your payments. You can do direct debit. You can, so that you don't have to worry about it. It comes out of your account every month. If you want to renew, you just call the company or write. You can send an email. You can, contact whoever it is that helped you in the first instance and say, "I want to reinstate my cover," and that's it.
Okay, thank you very much, Yemi. So, but what time and life happens and I want to file a claim for life insurance? So, how do I go about this?
Okay, if there's a claim, let's say death has occurred, or illness has occurred, whatever it is. So, depending on the age of the beneficiary, so there are different instances now. Let's say a young person who has children who are under 18 and the person dies. Of course, the beneficiary, who is a child who is 10, cannot contact the company.
Yes.
So that's also something to note when starting a contract. You need to factor in the age of your children.
Yeah.
So you may want to name a trustee, somebody who's old enough that you trust will take care of your dependents. So you can name your wife. If your wife is the beneficiary, then it becomes easy. But some people name their children.
Yeah.
If the children are still young, they can't contact the company. So in that instance, if you don't want to name a spouse, or you don't have a spouse, you can name a trustee. So that trustee would contact the company, and either by writing or by email, to say this has occurred, and then the beneficiaries will be paid. So and then during the claims process, of course, we want to confirm that that person really has passed. So we may ask for documents to prove that the person has passed. So either a medical certificate of cause of death from the hospital, and then we want to also confirm that this person is the person named beneficiary. So we want to confirm the identity. So if you have any identity card that would confirm the identity of the person we're paying as stated in the contract.
Now we've like almost rounding up, but how do our viewers get this policy? Okay, I understand what you are saying now. It's important for me to get life insurance. How do they buy this policy?
Very easy. You just go to our website. You can go to Cornerstone, www.cornerstone.com.ng. Check the number on the screen. You can call and there'll be somebody there to attend to you. You can also call our brand.
brand@cornerstone.com.ng. Just email brand@cornerstone.ng. Thank you very much, Yemi. And before we wrap up, is there any final word?
Well, my final word would be this. Not everybody needs life insurance. For instance, if I can say, Dangote is, for instance, self-insured. If he passes, I think there's more than enough that will take care of him. So some people are self-insured, but where you don't have any form of anything to fall back on, where you have young families that depend on you, that in the event that you're no longer there, those people would suffer, then you definitely need to put in a life insurance. You need something. And while we're all striving and working hard, anything can happen at any time. If your children are still young, you must you must have some form of protection. Otherwise, for instance, I was listening to the radio, I think 2 days ago. I think it was Max FM. And somebody had called to report that there were 2 children who were living in this house alone. The father passed, I think, 3 years ago.
Okay.
And their mother passed in February. The oldest is 17, and the younger one, 2 boys, the younger one is 14. And they have no one. They're living in the house all by themselves. So the host on the radio station called and was saying, he actually called the boy and said, how are you guys coping? Who is taking care of you? No family member has come forward. Their parents are gone. They don't even know when the rent is expiring. These neighbors that has been feeding them. And then the guy mentioned they have a stepmom who's been coming, bringing them food and all that. So they're like, okay, so when is your rent expiring? He says he doesn't know. Where will you go once your rent expires? He said he doesn't know. How will you pay your fees? So you can imagine. That is a very sad story, right? And it's also a very common story, because it's also even happened in my office in Abuja. This lady has been working in our sister company. The husband also died a few years ago, and she just died last week. So there were people in the office were going to visit the children. I think one of the wife's brothers had come to take the children from the home, because they're also very young. And now you wonder what's going to be the future of those children, knowing how hard already things are. Coping on your own is even difficult. Now, can you add other children's responsibilities to your burden? I don't think it's possible. So those children probably drop out of school, because you can't even pay you are struggling to pay your own children's school fees. And then you now have 3 other children to feed, And so they're talking about, okay, so I think the radio, the boys, the other one on Max FM, we're basically calling on Nigerians to raise some money so that they can, at least send to these boys to feed, pay their fees and all that. And also support the boy, so until he gets to finish his high school at least, then he can go and get a job. The likelihood of that boy now going past secondary school is slim, because he will probably just finish if he can and then go find a job to support his younger brother. And as touching as that story is, I'm sure a lot is happening all around us. So the only thing that one can do, at least the minimum, even if it is 1 million or 2 million, it's not expensive, that you can at least leave behind. Even for burial expenses, buy a coffin. And it's not cheap to die either. You will still buy a coffin, you will still be buried somewhere. It's going to cost money. Your children will still need to at least pay, rent, at least support them for a while, even if it's 1 year. So the typical amount of cover that we usually recommend is at least your 1 year salary. If you can set it aside, then you would have at least done something for your loved ones.
Thank you, Yemi. Like you said, to die itself is expensive. It's expensive. We'll consider people we leave behind. It's very important why we consider people we leave behind. Because Nigerians will be like, when you mention death, they'll be like, oh my death cannot be me, it cannot happen. But the truth of the matter is that we'll all die someday. And we need to ensure that we plan towards it. Ensure that when you leave this world, that the people you leave behind will not suffer. So that ends it for today. Thank you very much, Yemi, for joining us today and giving us your very insightful, on life insurance policy today. Thank you very much. We are glad to have had you in our studio today.
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. And to our viewers, remember, with Cornerstone, your future is assured. I'm your host, Ogechukwu Ugwuanyi. See you next time.